Hello and welcome everyone to another StarCraft 2 England cast. Today I've got game 1 of a best of 3. It's from the Zotac Cup and it is between TSLHyuN, who is the red Zerg player in the top left, and KingCobra, who is the teal Protoss in the bottom right position. So this means that it's going to be a ZvP. It is on Antigua shipyard. It is forced cross spawns and the supply depots are there, so no crazy close by ground play. And what does that really mean? Well, basically, Antigua for the Zerg player means their third base is super easy to take, to be honest, because defending this area, not much harder than defending this area, as in really not much difference at all. For the Protoss player though, a bit of a nightmare taking their third base, because you can't easily wall it off. There's these back rocks, there's a lot of space here to try and force field. It's just a nightmare. So to be honest, I think KingCobra is quite brave. This is a more unusual wall off from what I've seen, because generally you tend to see players walling off along here using the Nexus as part of the wall off, but what Cobra is going for is to wall off the ramp directly, which is a bit of a brave move, to be honest. It'd be interesting to see how that plays out, but obviously HyuN isn't known for going for any early pulls. He's almost certainly going to go for a 15 pull and then a quick hatch and third. We do have the drones just scouting though for Cobra anyway, so everything is going pretty normal so far. Obviously this is game 1, so obviously the pressure's on. If you win this game, you're in a great spot going into game 2. And actually HyuN going for the 14 pull there, so fractionally earlier, but it doesn't make too much of a difference, so that's all cool. And well, let's just use this time where neither player are doing much. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. It'd be super helpful for me just to get the channel some more attention. And obviously if you like my cast, hit subscribe, that would be sweet as well. And of course leave some cool comments below and follow me on Twitter. So now I've done all of that shizzle, we do actually have HyuN coming to get a third base first, which is a good move actually. I quite like it because, one, it means that you secure it without it getting blocked most of the time. 2, it means that when you take your third, you can actually transfer a couple of drones from the main a bit quicker to balance up the mining. So I think that's a good move to make. Also, it doesn't really matter if on a map like this, because it's very unlikely to get a lot of early pressure. Now we did have a Nexus first out of Cobra, which I think is an amazing choice, but it's super risky, because obviously this wall off on its own is quite a big wall off, and it also just means that if there was any early pressure you could have problems. But obviously this is HyuN we're talking about. He's just going to expand. He's got 2 Zerglings out, but actually getting 4 more, so he's going to go up to 6 Zerglings, which is a little bit more unusual. You tend to only get 2 out if you're going for a super fast expansion, but probably just getting the extra ones just to make extra sure he's safe, because basically getting the third is a bit risky. The natural base will be taken at about 4 to 5 minutes, probably about 4 minutes 20, although judging by how many minerals he's got, I'm expecting to see it slightly earlier than that, probably about 4 minutes 10, which really just means it'll be slightly more economical, although after a little bit of a delay it's about 5 seconds earlier than the perfect. We do have a good pylon wall off here, we do have the gateway up, the photon cannon is on its way, so there we can see the pylon get cancelled, and with only 6 Zerglings there's no way HyuN's going to be pushing in there. That Overlord getting a good scout out. The first 2 gas only now just coming down for Cobra, so this is definitely looking like it's going to go into the later game. No gas yet at all for HyuN, which is to be expected. You don't tend to get gas on as Zerg in this type of build until you're up to about 40 to 50 supply, which may seem really late, but once you're on 3 hatcheries you can so quickly pump out drones. I mean, you've got the extra queens for a start, which is a lot of, well, the 3 queens is 6 supplies straight away, and then of course you get the drones out quite quickly. It doesn't take you long to get up to that sort of 40 to 50 supply count. Now obviously we do have Cobra just getting up the gas, he's getting his cyber core, which of course this is really late, so I don't think there's going to be much pressure. The double gateway though is quite interesting. I'm surprised not more is being done with this in the names of getting out more zealots to put on a bit of pressure, which you can see. It's really quite an interesting build, but the +1 is coming out. We do have the third base for HyuN nearly out now, and he is not actually building extra queens quite yet, which is surprising. If he'd started the queen earlier, he could have started his creep spread and not missed an inject, which of course is absolutely optimum. I think getting extra queens out as Zerg early is just such a good strategy now, and something I advise all Zerg players to get. But obviously HyuN, he's a level above us mere mortals, so he can do what he wants and it's gonna work well, I'd imagine. Meanwhile Cobra, well, he's chrono boosting out that warp gate tech, and now he's got a robo on its way, so this is all fairly normal. It'll be interesting to see what he gets out of this. If he gets more gateways or whether he focuses more on tech. He doesn't have the third and fourth gas though, so I'm predicting that he's probably going to get a lot of gateways out, ready to put on a lot of pressure. Maybe get a warp prism to basically drop in. We'll wait and see. HyuN getting out the Roach one. Now he should get an Evo chamber at the same time. That is good timing. You want to get the Roach one and Evo basically to defend you against DTs and air, and also the ground pushes. Now, we do have these overlords spread really nicely. They also spread out here. Now, this overlord really critical. It shows where a pylon comes down for that early easy warp into the third base of the Zerg player. Now, here comes down the third and fourth gas. We do have the robotic facility just finishing up now, and so far no gateways, so I'm really interested to see what Cobra does. He does have that +1 nearly finished. He's chrono boosting it out, and there comes the Immortal. So obviously an Immortal Sentry push is possible, but to be honest, I don't think that is the most likely course of action. Purely because he hasn't, I don't think he'd hit the timing window quite right. He's also getting the +1 armor out, which wouldn't be likely for that type of build. So we'll wait and see. Obviously no Twilight Council out yet. Here comes the Lair, and HyuN, he's up to 4 gas now. Doesn't have any gas in his main, which is an interesting choice in which way he gets around. It doesn't make any difference though. The creep spread starting to go along. We've got a lot of Zerglings being pumped out. We've got the +1 missile attacks because the Evo chamber did go down, which is absolutely quality timing. We do have great injects from all of these queens. Everything going just the way it should. HyuN hasn't missed a single inject or anything like that, aside from the one for the creep tumor, which I've already discussed. Now we do have 3 zealots moving across the map. They'll be able to take the watchtower back, get a bit more map control. We do have 3 more gateways on the way out for Cobra. Will we see any more? Maybe. 5 gate, there's 6 gate. Now 6 gate robo is really potent. We could see a big, large amount of pressure. This kind of 2 Immortal Sentry push can do so much, especially if you then see more units come out. But those Immortals running away so they don't get spotted by that Overseer, but all the gateways will get scouted, and that is the big problem, because obviously then you know what's coming. The Warp Prism on its way, that's going to allow the warp in of units, and with those 2 Immortals and a lot of sentries, it's going to be really difficult for HyuN to deal with this. He needs to play it very calmly and very specifically. Some spine crawlers wouldn't go amiss at all. And of course, this third base is vulnerable because the rocks can get taken out. This ram can get force fielded very quickly, and then you can lose the third base. And a good Protoss player will then sometimes actually pull straight back, because after you've taken out this third base, you're on equal basis with the Zerg. You've got the tech out, and you can be in a good spot. This Overlord did spot the probe, I believe. I don't know if it can be seen. Not quite so. That's quite interesting. But we do have this Overseer will finally go down. Did it scout the Immortals? I don't know. The Warp Prism's done though. Another wave of warp-ins. 1 gateway not been turned into a warp gate yet. And that could be a little slip-up if Cobra doesn't notice. He was temporarily supply blocked. But HyuN coming across the map with a stupidly large amount of units. The +1 missile attacks are done. No upgrades for the Zerglings at the moment. And this has got to be played very well by Cobra. Some good force fields do go down, and I think retreating is the best option here because there's just so much stuff for HyuN. The Immortal, if it does get picked up, would be a really big loss. Needs to play this very safely. The force fields are going down ever so quickly. A third Immortal joins the ranks, and now of course those roaches are going to get taken out really quick. And there's the GG from Cobra. So game 1 does indeed go to HyuN. So if you didn't like it, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe would be awesome as well, and basically flick over to my channel to find game 2, because game 2 is going to be awesome. See you there in a second. Thanks for watching.